Every other time I start recording, it glitches out. So I just have to stop it and start recording again, and it's actually fine. Yeah. Let's look over these topics first.
Go for it.
Oh yeah, it's only been, 2 months?
Has it? It has not.
I mean, October 28th,
Jeez.
so like a month and a half.
Yeah, I noticed when I saw, I mean, this is a lot more recent, but when I saw Grounded, I was like, oh, that felt like forever ago that we messed around with that game.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, I see good starting topic on here.
You know, before we fully hop into it, I just want to say I'm kind of amazed that we've been able to fit in this podcast, because I think I told you 2 podcasts ago, I was like, hey, listen, I want to record one more before Cyberpunk releases, because I know that's gonna, I think it's just gonna soak up all of our time talking about it, just gushing over the game, for a podcast topic. And now we've been able to record 2 because it was pushed back by a couple days. Like, I don't think this would have happened without the 10-day extension in the release time.
You say gushing as if like I have to like the game.
No. I just think you'll have a lot of opinions about it. I mean, gushing is in like there's just a lot to say about it, and it's going to take a long time to talk about.
Gotcha.
Because I think regardless, we're going to have a lot to say about it, especially if you hate it. I think that'd be really fascinating. Like, I'm not hoping you hate it.
Find out tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm not hoping you hate it, but it would be really fun to talk about with you if you hated it. But
I kind of hope we both hate it.
Oh yeah? Why? Just because it'll be fun to talk about?
It'd be way more funny.
We've been super hyped for this thing for years now.
Yeah, especially if you read the comments of like any video they put on their YouTube channel. It's like everyone's just so excited, and I'm like, guys, it's a game.
Oh man, it'll be interesting. I think I'm kind of expecting it to be like, well, hold on, we can talk about that later.
Wait, I was gonna say, hang on, this isn't the opening topic.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a good opening topic.
What did I put as the opening topic? I know I put something in here.
Food topic, clearly.
Food topic.
Because we always gotta open with a food topic.
I feel like I said like parentheses good opening topic on one.
You said good closing topic on one.
Okay, got it. Okay, so this one's an interesting one.
So who's David Castillo?
David Castillo. Let me look it up really quick because I haven't seen it yet. Hold on. It's gonna throw you for a loop, and I'm really happy about that.
Uh-oh. I'm not excited anymore.
Okay, so David Castillo was convicted on July 14th of stabbing to death Clarencio Champion, a cashier at the Party House liquor store in Mercedes. Mercedes?
Okay.
I don't know.
Oh, is he an actor?
No, I think that's a different guy. This happened in the 80s. I don't know when the actor did his thing.
Gotcha.
So this came up over Thanksgiving. So I went to a mutual friend's house over Thanksgiving, and we all bit into the food, and it tasted amazing because it was Thanksgiving, and we all like starved ourselves for the whole day, and we were talking about how much fun it was to like not have any food, and for this to just taste like extra amazing just because we were so incredibly hungry. And we started mentioning like how like we could die happy now, like we've had like the most amazing meal. And so I started asking people at the table, like, what would you have as like your final meal? Like if you're on death row, what would your final meal be? So I was Googling a whole bunch of people. Yeah.
Where is this going?
Oh yeah, you know exactly where it's going. Anyways, I put in, so the food topic is called David Castillo because I don't remember what he had, but he had my favorite last meal. Hold on. It wasn't anything weird. It was just like this guy.
It wasn't like the chicken McNuggets guy, was it?
No, it wasn't him. Although I did find out there was one guy, it was like a Satanist who was really dedicated to the bit, and he asked for a Bible for his last meal and ate the Bible. And I was like, you know what?
That's commitment.
Yeah, I respect that. That's some serious commitment. Let me see if I can find this again. David Castillo, let's see, murder in Texas, 1998, lethal injection. He asked for 24 soft-shell tacos, 6 enchiladas, 6 tostadas, 2 whole onions, 5 jalapenos, 2 cheeseburgers, 1 chocolate shake, a quart of milk, and 1 package of Marlboro cigarettes. So, like...
Wait, he ate the cigarettes?
I don't think you have to eat everything with your last meal. It was just
I mean, no, there's no way someone's eating all that before they die.
I want to know why he asked for 2 whole onions. Like that's the one that kind of threw me. Like why would you like maybe he's figuring like they'll give him a little knife and he can just slice them up. I
Well, I would assume maybe he's just one of those people that likes onions.
maybe it was just like
My little
garnishes.
sister would when she was little. She would just go to the fridge and open up our little container of cut onions for later, and
Jeez.
just eat it.
Oh my gosh.
Eat cut onions raw, and we're not talking like the mellow red onions. We're talking just the yellow onions, the
Oh,
strong stuff.
oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. My
So there
sister's
are
done
people
some
like that out there.
my sister's done some weird things, but she never did that. I think my sister just liked to like I think she bit into lemons. Like she just loved to bite lemons.
My niece, 4 years old,
Hmm.
loves lime.
Oh yeah?
She just takes sucks on like a little slice of lime,
Oh my gosh.
and I just can't even comprehend that. I
I'm
don't,
sure
but I mean, to be fair, I used to dip my finger in our butter thing and just eat it like that. So when I was a
Jeez.
kid,
Oh man, kids get up to weird things.
yeah,
My
I
niece
don't do that anymore.
I think this is normal for little kids, but one of my nieces, she would just eat ice cubes all the time. Like she would I mean I think it's for like soothing their teeth, but it
That
used
makes
to
sense.
just
Yeah.
like drive chills up my spine because I have a sensitive tooth and so I can't have super cold things in my mouth. Like it became a problem for a while. And she would just like grab these ice cubes and just hold them until they melted, which I'm like, geez, that's gotta like
Oh
hurt after
God,
a while. And
that's
she
terrible.
yeah, and she would just suck on them. And so I kept taking them away because I'm like, okay, you can hold it for a second, but then you're gonna start crying if it starts hurting. She's like, no, I'm gonna hold it the whole time. And she kept like grabbing them back from me. I'm like, geez. She just, oh
That's
man,
crazy because I mean I don't have like that sensitive of teeth, but I'm pretty sure most adults it's gonna
yeah.
hurt their teeth.
I mean, like there's like chewable ice and stuff, but this was like a solid cube of ice that she would
Yeah,
just
no,
like,
solid cubes or just more
yeah.
solid frozen food in general. I can't chew on it very
Oh man,
easily
it's no good.
because you have to kind of like keep it on your tongue instead of your teeth.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
no good at
hmm.
all.
That sounds
Anyways,
painful
oh yeah. Anyways, I thought it'd be interesting to look at this list with you and see if you found anyone that's a kindred spirit. Um,
in terms of
in
last
terms of
meal.
yeah, in terms of last meals, just like the kind of meal that you're like, you know what, that's a good last meal. Like you thought a lot about this. That's kind of what I'm getting
Ooh,
from these
one
people.
already jumps out at me.
Okay,
6 glasses of beer,
I love it.
right near the top. Oh, this was in 1902
I
in
love it.
Germany. Oh man.
A pizza and a cup
Oh,
of
oh,
hot
so okay,
chocolate.
so these are different. These are different continents then. Okay.
Hmm.
Um,
Cheesesteak, coleslaw, and Pepsi Cola. See, that's not something I would ask for. It's got to be interesting. Like I'm sure there's a story behind some of these meals. Like it's just like it's like their comfort food. Like it's the thing they ate growing up that just brings them comfort. Because I could see that. Like as a last meal, I wouldn't like, I wouldn't hold it against someone to ask for like chicken nuggets as a last meal if like that's the thing that their mom always gave them growing up when they were sick. Like that's like oh, okay, I get why you're doing that as a last meal.
yeah.
Oh, this guy just asked for, let's see, Cornelius Goss, murderer in Texas, killed in 2000 by lethal injection, asked for an apple, an orange, a banana, a coconut, and peaches.
There's what I see here are two different types of people.
Okay.
You have this one guy: celery, stuffed green olives, roast chicken, French fried potatoes, buttered peas. Like that seems reasonably
It's a
healthy.
nice dinner. Yeah.
Two people down: pizza with bacon, beef, cheese, and mushrooms, Pepsi, and strawberry cheesecake. What I see on here are like two types of people. People who just go all out and are like, yeah, it's my last meal. I don't gotta count calories. And the other people who are like, no, I'm just gonna kind of eat what I always eat.
I can't imagine. I mean, I guess I'd be a little bit worried about that. Like, I think lethal. Okay, so if I was dying by firing squad lethal injection, doesn't matter. It's probably worse if your stomach's upset. Like maybe that's in the back of their mind too. Like I don't want to go to the electric chair with like a stomach ache because that's just adding
Hmm.
insult to injury at that point. I don't know. I wonder what
Well,
they could be
maybe
thinking
this is
about
getting
that.
a little dark, but I've always wondered how.
Hey, Future Tim here. Me and Jacob spent a long time talking about death, the mourning process, and everything involved in that. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it just to keep the tone proper for the podcast. Sorry about that. All right, back to the show. Okay, we're getting too dark with
On
this.
a slightly more cheery subject, back to last meals.
Yeah.
I saw a couple more from this list on Wikipedia you
Okay.
sent me.
Yeah.
There are I'm not going to read these ones, but there's three more that jumped out to me where they have very specific things like 10 8-ounce packs of Parmesan cheese. Um, and this guy has like it's like a whole paragraph of stuff. There's a couple people who have entire paragraphs of stuff they want.
I love it.
One is 2 chicken fried steaks smothered in gravy with sliced onion and just a bunch of other stuff.
There was a TV show on, I forgot if it's CBS or NBC. Actually, I want to know what this is. It was a show called Raising Hope. Where was Raising Hope on? Maybe, I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's a show called Raising Hope. Anyways, the show is about a guy who accidentally impregnates a serial killer, and then the serial killer is put to death. So he's got to raise the baby of the serial killer by himself. It's a really ridiculous plotline, but they did a pretty good job with it. Anyways, the beginning of the show is the woman being sentenced to death row and awaiting her execution. And as the prison guards walking them to the thing, it's like, yeah, she was supposed to die 2 months ago, but for her last meal, she asked for a McRib and a Shamrock Shake, and those are never available at the same limited time. So the court systems had to figure out how to how to get her last meal. So she bought herself a few months.
Oh, that's great.
Like, oh yeah, it was such
that's
a good
what I'm
joke.
gonna do. Yeah.
Asked for a McRib and a Shamrock
Just
Shake.
just don't get sentenced in Texas because apparently they don't do the last meal thing anymore since 2011 because of one of those guys I mentioned. Since he asked for so much,
oh yeah,
and
that
then
makes
he
sense.
refused the meal when it arrived.
Yeah,
and they were like, "All right, we're done with this. We
that
can't."
jerk ruined it for everyone. I have heard of arguments back and forth on this because it's like, it is nice to do for them, but also you're spending extra money on convicted murderers, and sometimes that can get very, very expensive if they ask for like, something like you were saying, something really elaborate. That could be like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure some of these meals are like $500 because it just goes on and on.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, some of these people are asking for their steak to be cooked in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Onion rings, bacon, scrambled eggs with onions, fried potatoes with onions, sliced tomatoes, salad with ranch dressing, 2 hamburgers, peach pie, milk, coffee, iced tea with sugar. Man. I wonder what the longest last meal is. I don't know how much longer we want to spend on this, though. Oh, this guy asked for lobster tail, steak, apple pie, and vanilla ice cream with 7-Up, and he requested a copy of the Lord of the Rings film trilogy that he could watch while he ate his meal.
I just saw that one.
I like
too.
that guy. Ronnie Lee Gardner.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I'd just be like, no, I don't want a meal. I just want up to play a video game or something, or watch a movie instead.
Yeah.
That'll be my fill.
But you have to eat it afterwards, Jacob. Gotta make sure you're okay with that.
That would probably kill me instead.
2 dozen mussels, steamed clams, double cheeseburger from Burger King. Okay. Anyways, it was just an interesting question that I was thinking of over Thanksgiving. And I thought I'd ask it. I still don't know what I would choose for my last meal. I'm thinking it would probably be something pretty normal. Like, I don't think I'd go too crazy. Like, I don't want a birthday cake for my last meal. How many birthday cakes have been asked for?
Cake is pretty common, it seems like. But for me, I know that I would definitely, not definitely, but most likely pick something like sushi.
Pick something like sushi?
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess you could probably request where the sushi comes from, but I don't know if they'd be willing.
Well, yeah,
to,
these people are requesting like, oh yeah, I want Burger King or McDonald's and stuff. I'm sure I could be like, yeah, that sushi joint over there on another block. I want that one.
I don't know if this guy did it on accident or something, but he made sure that he paid $4.20 from his account for his last meal. $4.20. It just lists that as like part of it. Yeah, I love it. Okay. Anyways, so let me ask you, what do you think your last meal would be? So it'd be sushi. What else?
Yeah,
with a nice movie.
I mean, yeah, if they do that, I'd probably want to enjoy something with it.
What's the best comfort movie for you? Like if Jacob's having a bad day, he's really sick, he just wants to watch something to zone out to.
I go to YouTube if I'm just want to take my mind off things.
They probably give you a YouTube account for your last day. I could see that.
Maybe. I'd be like, yeah, I want to watch some Age of Empires gameplay or something like that. While we're almost on the topic of food, what do we want to rate fried chicken for?
Oh, right. Okay. Gotcha. So this was a continuation of last time. Man, there's so many breaks in between our recording schedule. It's hard to remember sometimes. So no,
Were we talking about fried chicken last
we
time?
were talking about Raising Cane's last time. Do you remember we got on that weird tangent where
Yes, I remember now.
we somehow got on there. So like I went to Raising Cane's like 2 days afterwards because I was really curious. I was like, okay, so I've got a good idea of what Chick-fil-A tastes like in my head. I've got a really good idea of KFC. I want to try Raising Cane's and see where it fares. Um,
Okay, so where did it fall on the scale?
so out of those three, and man, I really wish I had more fried chicken places to try, by the way, to like rate it more. But unless I'm just going to like mom and pop shops, which I unfortunately I just don't think they'll rate very well. Um, I don't know. I was kind of upset about that. Of the three, I think it rates number two. So it's like right in the middle. And the more time I thought about it, and as I was actually eating the chicken, because I was discussing this with Emily, as I was eating the chicken, I realized that I like Raising Cane's because it's the most middle of the road fried chicken I think I've ever had. Like it's really good at what it does. It is fried chicken. Like there's nothing else, froofy about it. There's no like interesting things that they're trying to do with the fried chicken. It is just
It's
fried
like
chicken.
it's the in and out of the fried chicken.
Yeah, it's just like
It's exactly that.
yeah, it's just the thing. If you want fried chicken, this is fried chicken. Like if you want it, this is it. It's not bad. Like it's not like because KFC is the bottom for me. Like that's bad fried chicken. It's like that's the kind of food you eat when you kind of hate yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, KFC is not where you go for good fried chicken.
Yeah, and Chick-fil-A still feels like a treat for me. I'm like, okay, well I can get like a few more things there. But if I'm just rating the chicken, I still like the Chick-fil-A recipe a little bit more. But if I'm really just looking for just fried chicken with like a garlic sauce, I don't even know what's in cane sauce, but it tasted
It's
like a garlic.
I don't know what it is, but I really like it.
It's funny. It was good for like the first like okay, so I got a couple of them because I was like, okay, this is probably the thing to get. And I'm a really big sauce guy. The first packet or like cup, I don't know what they're called, but the first like thing of it was really really good. But then the second one started getting like a weird aftertaste, just because it was coating my tongue too much. You know, how, like you can just have too much of a
How
food.
much were you like drinking it?
No, not I'm not drinking it, but like there's like okay, so they come in like cups or something, right? I'm pretty sure they come in
Yeah.
cups.
Yeah, I usually get the sandwich one.
Yeah, I
So I don't
think
put any extra sauce on that, but I dip my fries in the sauce.
yeah, I think I got like 3 packets or 3 cups, and I ate one, and I really liked it the first time because I was like, okay, it's like a there's a type of mustard. I forgot what the mustard's called. Not andouille and anole? No, that's a lizard. Man, I don't remember now. But it's like a garlicky mustardy kind of thing. I know there's mustard seed in there, even though it's not a mustard sauce. Um,
But you said you got like two or three extra cups of it?
I didn't use all of it. I had the first one. And I'm like, okay, I really like this with the dipping sauce. And then by the time I opened up the second dipping sauce one, I was like, this is too much dipping sauce. Like the
Yeah, I think that was definitely your mistake.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm not saying I don't like it. It was a good dipping sauce. I wouldn't. I don't. It's not my favorite. Like I think I still would have used a Chick-fil-A sauce over that one. But I did like how garlic forward the sauce was. I'm still not
Did
sure.
you?
What's up?
That's interesting because I've never really noticed the garlic
Oh yeah. What do you
taste in it
what do you
so
think
much.
it's in
Yeah,
it?
but real quick, did you get the strips or the sandwich?
Strips. Lots of strips.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely a much bigger fan of the sandwich then because you get a greater variety. You get a little bit of lettuce, you get that bun as well, so it kind of helps
Okay.
tone down the sauce, but you still get to
Mm.
experience it quite a bit, and it's nice.
Okay.
It's a very well-rounded experience, I think.
That's good because that means that I could do a side by side with a Chick-fil-A sandwich.
There you go.
Yeah, I can order them the same way. That'd be really interesting. Maybe I'll do that this weekend. I could do it tonight
I
actually. I'm
think
gonna go see Emily in a little bit.
I think there's a Chick-fil-A and a Raising Cane's next to the one you probably went to. I think
Mhm.
they're probably pretty close to each other, so.
They're not too far apart. My only concern is that the Chick-fil-A line is just oh my gosh. The
Dude, Raising Cane's line is so long. Don't go there between. I feel like I've said a lot of this last
oh
podcast,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
don't go there between 11 a.m. and 11 p.m. because
See, it's
it
it's
is. Ooh.
I believe you on that. When I went there, it wasn't like too bad or anything, but that particular Chick-fil-A in Vista has oh my gosh, the worst congestion of a store I've ever seen. Because
Oh God.
I think that's the only one I know of that has it does like the 3 lines that all feed into a single line of
Yeah.
cars. Yeah, it's just oh my gosh. I always feel like it's just taking forever when I'm in that line. Like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sit in this Walmart parking lot for a half hour as I wait to like slowly inch my way closer to my food.
Speaking of bad drive-through experiences, there's an Albert Tacos that I go to fairly frequently because it's
Okay.
convenient and it's 24 hours, right?
Hmm.
I waited about 10 minutes for 3 cars one time. It
Ugh.
was really bad. It took me
Ugh.
like 20 minutes to get through the drive-through in total.
Have you ever?
And
Oh,
I
go on.
was it was annoying because I was wanted to get home as fast as possible because I think Brent and Mike, well, people were waiting for me to play the forest basically, and I needed food and it just was taking forever.
Have you ever like asked the people at the drive-through window what on earth the last person before you was ordering? I'll do that whenever like it's exceptionally long. I'm like, dude, hey, what was taking that guy so long? They're like, oh my god, and they'll just start venting to me about what a terrible customer he was. That's like my
That's
favorite.
great. I've never done that because I'm just more focused on like me.
Yeah, getting out of
I
there.
guess I'm more selfish in that sense, but I usually am just like, yeah, if they're gonna order what they're gonna order, that's fine.
Oh man, no, it's so much fun.
Because usually I just judge them silently. Because if they ordered a lot, you can definitely see that they hand the person a lot
Mhm.
of food.
No, I wouldn't judge them silently. Do it very explicitly to the workers. They love it.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
man.
that's a good way to get on their good side.
Yeah. So yeah, so Raising Cane's comes in second. So we got KFC at the bottom, Raising Cane's very high above it. I don't want it to seem like Raising Cane's just a little bit above it. That's much higher for me than KFC. I'd much prefer that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then there's a
Yeah,
slight lead with, well, maybe more than a slight. I haven't tried the sandwich, so I guess I should say this is still to be totally decided. But
yeah.
yeah,
Because even Chick-fil-A, I don't like the chicken strips in general. I just get the sandwiches usually.
yeah, I usually
I'm a
get.
I'm a pretty big sandwich guy, I guess.
I've been trying not to eat any French fries. So usually, what I'll do because I've been enjoying my meat so much lately is I get a sandwich and then a small thing of chicken nuggets along with it. And I really like the chicken nuggets,
Oh,
especially the.
interesting.
Yeah, I really like those. You do a
I
great
feel like
job.
that's not as well balanced though. You gotta get that starch and that meat in there.
Well, I don't know. I'm about that low carb life. I've been enjoying it. Oh, okay. Man, I'm so tired right now. Oh gosh.
I'm so ready
For what?
for Chick-fil-A now or Raising Cane's.
Oh man. I love getting to the end of these
Um,
conversations because I'm like, yeah, I am gonna get that for dinner. Like, I'm already thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? I could go back to Raising Cane's for this evening because I'm driving to Vista anyways.
I already know my mom is making spaghetti, so that's what I'm having. But you should probably go to bed a little earlier tonight.
Mm,
Get rested for tomorrow,
that's probably a good idea.
so you can stay up late tomorrow.
I think we mentioned it before, just but for anyone who cares, tonight is the night before Cyberpunk 2077 gets released. So me and Jacob are.
And I don't think Tim will be able to live a life until he gets to play that game.
I think I'm gonna be kind of obsessed with it for a while. This happened back with man, we can't get away from talking about it. Uh, this happened back with what was it called? Mass Effect 3. I think that's the last time I felt like this because that game was like it was fine, but I
Are you
really
sure it wasn't? Sorry to interrupt real quick, but I'm pretty sure it was No Man's Sky.
no, not like well, okay, hold on. The excitement and the anticipation probably No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
But for like well, let me tell you what happened with Mass Effect. So Mass Effect got
Okay.
released. I wanted to play it immediately. So I ended up getting a copy and everything and getting into it. And I got so invested in the story because I was so into it from the first two games that I basically finished that game over a 24-hour period. I think this was back when I was in high school. And I just,
Yeah, when you
yeah.
have plenty of free time.
Oh, yeah. And so I powered through the whole game. And I think I finally finished the game at 4 a.m., like the night after I got it. Like it was just like
It's
a
pretty
straight.
impressive.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Well, like I finished it and I had that same feeling that everyone had, where I was like, "That's it." Like that was the game. But which was unfortunate because the whole game was amazing up until that point. Like a lot of people have problems with the Mass Effect 3 ending, and I
Yeah,
definitely did too.
I've heard some of the problems, and then the problem with Andromeda is that they just were like, okay, we don't even want to deal with that. Here's a new galaxy.
Yeah, I don't hold it totally against them because the creators changed, and so I'm like, oh, okay, you're trying to do something else with the franchise, but you're not the same people who understand the story like the creators did. I think they just cashed out and retired. I could be wrong about that. Um, but
Yeah, it wouldn't
anyways,
surprise me if they jumped ship
yeah. But I
because I think
really,
they did change ownership. Yeah,
yeah, I really don't feel bad about thinking like, hey, there was Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, and then there was a fan game called Andromeda afterwards. Like, I feel like that's fairly fair.
I would even call it a fan game because I watched a bit about the making of that,
Hmm.
and apparently a lot of the the goalpost basically moved like halfway through development, and so everyone was just scrambling, and they onboarded like they offshored some of the work, and that wasn't going
Oh,
well, and
yeah.
a lot of it just went really really badly.
Yeah, it's just one of those
And a
cursed
lot of
projects.
it was like pressure from higher ups as well,
Hmm.
and so I wouldn't even call it a fan game.
Yeah, I think at that point, but is BioWare owned by EA? I'm pretty sure it was
Yeah,
acquisition.
there.
Yeah, it was acquired by EA halfway through the process, or something like that, or maybe it was like right beforehand. And yeah, they were just being driven crazy by it. But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm hoping for from Well, okay, not the ending, obviously, but that's kind of what I'm hoping for from Cyberpunk. You know what? No, I'm trying to wait to talk about this because I want to gush about Cyberpunk at the end. Dang it, Tim! Come on, stay focused.
No. Let's do it now. Let's get it out of the way
All right,
because
okay,
you
okay.
can't think about anything else.
All right. No, that's kind of what I'm hoping for it. The this like I think I've told you before. This is pretty common knowledge about me. I really love the stories in the games. That's the reason I follow a lot of it. I love the art direction, and I love to see how the art and the mechanics play into the story. Like that's kind of what I'm focused on. And so I'm really interested in this game because, obviously The Witcher 3 was a masterpiece, and I know that all of those same quest designers and all those same writers are working on this game. So I'm really curious to see what they've been cooking up this whole time. So that's the reason I'm really into it. Even if the shooting's not great, even if this game has a lot of problems, I'll probably still finish it just to see every line of dialogue that this game has to offer.
Yeah, hopefully it'll have that same kind of feeling that The Witcher did, where
Mhm.
every side quest is actually just kind of
Yeah,
fun.
it's wonderful.
It's actually an engaging story, and you want to hear what the characters have to say, and you
Yeah.
want to come to your conclusions about it.
I hope they get that. I was listening to a like right before we started recording. I had a I had an interview on with one of the developers who was specifically talking about the Bloody Baron quest line. Have you seen that video? Like it's just the developer talking about his whole thought process in building it and why he thinks that thing came off so well.
I haven't no, but wasn't it one of the first quests they made in the game?
Probably. I don't remember him saying that, but it wouldn't surprise me in the least. I can't find it now. Okay, I will find it for you. Oh, cool. It's from a YouTube channel called Story Mode. Apparently, here I'm gonna
Name
send.
sounds familiar, but sounds like a pretty generic name as
Oh
well.
yeah,
So
here I'm gonna send this to you for later. You'll really enjoy it. But yeah, it's just I think it's the lead quest designer and one other person talking about. Oh yeah, and then the writer discussing like exactly why it moves like it did and what they were trying to do with all of it, and they just really knocked it out of the park. They're like, yeah, we're super happy with this quest line. It showed who Geralt was. It had someone kind of it had this other character that was kind of mirroring him, but choosing different actions than he normally would. And I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of beating a dead horse by saying it was an amazing quest line, but I'm really excited to
but
see those people again.
what you're saying is you hope that transfers over to Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I want to see, it may not have a Bloody Baron equivalent, but like you were saying, all those quests were amazing back in Witcher, and that game would not have been nearly as good without those quests. And that's the main thing I'm excited about in that game. Like,
Yeah, that was the part that always surprised me. Is usually I'm not into like super story heavy games
mhm,
with tons of dialogue like The Witcher, but like I was saying earlier,
just drink it
even
up.
the side quests, I never skipped dialogue on my first time playing them
Yeah.
because I just wanted to hear what everyone had to say. It was like it was so well written, it was fascinating.
Yeah.
So I definitely understand where you're coming from
Yeah.
with that, but at the same time, I'm kind of hoping Cyberpunk. I'm worried the combat might not be good
Mm.
because I've seen a little bit of gameplay here and there in the flashy trailers and stuff, and each time I'm thinking, I don't know, those guns. It doesn't look like they feel right or they don't handle right.
Mhm.
But so I'm a little worried about that. But
I could see
it
that.
is what it
I
is.
mean, this is their first. This is the kind of thing that I think I raised my worry a long time ago to you about this on this being the first FPS that they've built. Like I'm hoping they brought in people that know FPS. Like I'm hoping at least a couple of their people have, Call of Duty experience or something like that to help them kind of make it feel really really good. Um, but it
Well, you say that, but at the same time, I would actually might like it more if they didn't bring anyone from Call of Duty on,
Oh, and
because
try
I
to
don't
give it
want
like
it to
its own
feel
unique feel.
I don't want it to feel like every other shooter at the same time though.
That's
So
fair. Yeah. Oh man, this
I
is so
do
interesting.
know
There's so
that
many
they
questions.
said early on
Yeah.
that they were designing it from the ground up to be first person perspective, not kind of like adapting it. It could be
Okay.
third person or first person. They wanted it to be as personal as possible, so they are designing around that quite a bit.
Man, this is gonna be such an interesting game. I do see what you're saying. It'll be really fascinating if like even if they don't totally nail the what they're trying to do with the combat and with the first person mode, it's going to be really fascinating to see their take on it. That's what I want to see. I just want to see like how their mind works and stuff, and hopefully get something good enough to where somebody else is like, oh, I should try the system for my game, and then we'll start getting maybe a whole new genre of FPS games.
I'm honestly, personally, I'm a fan of the whole aesthetic of it too. I love
The
the
Cyberpunk.
dark. Yeah, I love the dark colors with neon colors and just neon colors in general.
Hmm.
So I think I'm just gonna like the way the game looks in general as well.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I had some hesitations about that a while ago, but I feel like I'm ready for a cyberpunky game. You know what really helped actually was so I got you. You remember I gave you that really early birthday present of the Cyberpunk
Yeah,
2020
in July.
game. Well, I forgot. Oh yeah, because I was hoping we'd have a chance to play it. Ah well.
It'll happen.
It
I'll
it
make it happen.
it was really fun going through that because there's some really wild things in the whole lore compendium, and I hope a lot of it's in the game. I don't think it will be. There's like a lot in that game. But it was really cool reading through the lore, and I was like, oh, I think I understand the worlds more and stuff. Like I understand their cyberpunk aspect because I don't I don't know what I was thinking of when I first heard about the game. Like I'm like, okay, I know what cyberpunk is, but I don't really have any other cyberpunk thing to relate it to. And so I don't know. I didn't like it at first because I'm like, well, it's just going to be like a crappy sci-fi game. And I was partially thinking, oh, you know what? This is where I think my thinking was coming from.
Okay.
I think I was assuming it was going to be something akin to a Fallout, and I'm like, God damn it, I don't like Fallout at all. I do not like Fallout, and every time a new Fallout comes out, I'm like, ugh, I'll try this for a minute, but ugh, I don't like it at all.
First off, I didn't know that was your opinion about Fallout. I thought you actually enjoyed at least. Oh no, that's right. You enjoyed the setting of Fallout.
I enjoyed yeah, kind of. I enjoyed 3. I thought 3 was a really good game, and then ever since then 4 New Vegas. I apparently New Vegas was better than 3, but I wasn't able to get into it. Even 3 I struggled through. And then obviously 76 came out. But we didn't like that for a whole slew of different reasons.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that was its own thing. But
But
yeah, anyways, I didn't understand what it was. There was one thing that really, well, there was two things that really struck me about the board game. The character of Johnny Silverhand, the guy that Keanu Reeves is playing, is really
ah,
cool
yes.
in the game itself. And the way that the mechanics work around characters like Silverhand is really cool. I don't know what the menus are going to look like in this game, but I'm really excited about it because in the board game, I don't know if I'm sure you've thumbed through that book at some point that I gave you.
I have, yeah.
The stats include like I think a stat for cool and attractiveness.
Yeah,
And
like street cred.
yeah, they like play integral parts of the game, which is just an interesting idea for a stats menu. But then,
Yeah, so
oh,
so in
sorry.
the game, supposedly the kind of clothes you wear is going to affect how different factions react to you.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So
That'll be nice.
that's where that street cred
Nice,
stat comes into play.
nice. So it was that, and then I was reading about some of the gangs, and I just thought they were really interesting. There's one gang, sorry, that really stood out to me, which was the gang of I think they're called the Kennedys, and it's a gang of guys that all got plastic surgery to look exactly like John F. Kennedy, and then they just beat people up and sell drugs. And there was just something about that where I'm like, wow, that's
What?
yeah, and I was like, that's just fascinating. Like I don't know why they would
Because
do that, but
they
what?
showed, I think they revealed most of the gangs or all of the gangs
Yeah.
in a YouTube video they posted, but I don't remember if they were in that or not.
I think they were a really small part of like the lore compendium of the cyberpunk like tabletop game. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming it's not going to come into it. But that was just the funniest thing I'd seen. I'm like, huh, this is like okay, this gang or this game has something to offer. There's something here.
It reminds me of the one clip or where he goes, "Nothing bad ever happens to the Kennedys." I don't know if you've seen it or not. It's from like some weird cartoon I've never seen, but that just makes me think of that straight up.
The Kennedys are one of many gangs in Night City, a poser gang emulating the Kennedy family of the late 20th century. Kennedys do not defend a turf. They can be found anywhere in Night City. Oh, I think they are in this game. Okay.
Oh boy,
All right. Corporate zone to combat zone. Kennedys are a violent gang. Okay, interesting.
what a weird gang.
Yeah.
Like, have you like what?
Yeah.
Have you ever thought like, man, if I wanted to start a gang, but I wanted all my members to look like a certain political figure, who would
Obama.
you choose?
Obama.
Yes, that's the correct answer.
Oh my
And
gosh.
you could, oh, that'd be perfect.
Oh man. Okay, no, I'm seeing. Hold on. Okay, this is from Cyberpunk 2020 wiki. It's the same wiki, so it's kind of hard to see because they use the exact same logo as the game. Okay. Okay. Well, anyways, don't take my word for it that the Kennedys are going to be in the game, but I really hope that the Kennedys are, because that is my favorite. That's my favorite faction or my favorite gang. Oh man.
That's ridiculous, dude.
So what are you hoping for from it? You mentioned the combat. You kind of want to see that. Is there anything else that you're like really itching
From
to see?
combat, I want just stories I want to watch.
Mm,
That's basically my expectations.
mm,
I haven't really given it much thought. It's just more so been of a like, oh, it's like cool that the game's finally releasing, and
mhm.
I've watched most of the videos they've put out about the game, and I'm like,
Really?
this is cool and all, but you're not really telling me much about the game. You're just giving me the world building kind of.
Yeah.
So there hasn't been much solid information about the actual gameplay loops. So
Mm,
I'm kind of just going into it like, yeah, I hope the writing's really good and combat is the guns. I
yeah.
don't want like a Borderlands system necessarily where you can get like all sorts of wide variety of randomly generated guns,
Mhm.
but I want a good variety of fun weapons to try, and I want the weapons to feel good.
Did you see the car video that they posted? That was the one I did
About the
watch.
different rides,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you? Okay, so the other thing that I'm really excited for in this game is the junky cars because they were the funniest looking thing. I really want to see all the bad cars in the game.
Yeah, I hope one of the things I want actually I think is customization.
Hmm.
I want because this is one of the things that bugs me a lot nowadays, especially in like games as a service kind of things.
Yeah.
So for so like if you remember back in Modern Warfare 2, you had skins that you would unlock
Hmm.
that from doing challenges with certain weapons.
Yeah.
And then Black Ops, you got the next game, Black Ops, you got a little bit of customization with your emblem, and you could put that on your gun, and you got the skins from unlocking or from completing
So you're saying
challenges.
the customization's been like slowly removed from games?
Exactly. So then you get modern games as a service games like Apex Legends.
Hmm.
You buy skins, you can't change any colors on them. You maybe get like a charm you can put on the gun.
Hmm.
This is the same in Rainbow Six Siege. You get
Yeah.
charms and skins are the majority of the customization in that game.
Hmm.
You can't do anything custom, and I just really want a system where I can at least paint parts of the gun different colors.
Mm.
At the best, I want to be able to paint like drawings on the gun or something. I want the same for cars. I want customization in games these days, but it's just not there. They're like, yeah, let's add another escort mission,
Yeah.
and like I don't know if you were there the other day, but we were watching someone play Assassin's Creed Valhalla
Okay.
in Discord, and there was a drinking mini game,
Okay.
and like that's what you're doing. I want to like face paint or something. Let me like draw face paint on my character instead of a drinking mini game against some 40-year-old lady. So that's where I'm coming from. I just want a lot of customization, but that doesn't necessarily apply to just Cyberpunk. It more so just games in general these days, I'd say.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I think it's what I'm about to say kind of applies to, media as a whole right now, but there's this bad issue with just with businesses when they get bigger, and I totally understand it and everything. It's something that I think is fairly unavoidable unless you're actively trying to fight against it at all points, which I think Well, I think CDPR has been. It's nice that it's kind of grown naturally because it doesn't have to appeal to like. Well, is it public or private? Hold
I believe they are public because they do post earnings and such on their YouTube channel.
on. Okay.
Yeah, they definitely are public. They were originally born out of well, they're based in Poland, right?
Hmm.
And so because of the Iron Curtain and the division between the USSR and the Western
Yeah.
countries, a lot of the games that they played that the people who founded the company grew up were bootlegs out of like a market
Hmm.
or like a street market and stuff, and they were just definitely weren't official releases. So that's where they're coming from when they started the company,
That's really cool.
about how a lot of games were made for the Western culture and they weren't even released locally in places like Poland and Russia originally.
That's such a cool start for a company like that. That's such a cool, like
Yeah.
fun, like underdog
So
way to go.
one of they before they started making their own games, they were actually working as a company that would port other people's games to places like that, like
I gotcha.
Poland and such. So
Nice.
that's where they started from. So no, I should have like I don't know. I want to hear what you have to say though. What you were gonna say.
Oh well, oh, that is really cool, and I'm glad they're starting from somewhere like that because I mean, CDPR is definitely a little more. It has the respect of the community right now because you can tell that they're free to do really whatever they want with their artistic expression. Like I don't think there's any game that CDPR could come out with that a million people wouldn't buy right off the bat just because CDPR is making it and because we respect them for kind of doing their own thing. Like the original Witcher series, like that was a very niche couple titles that they released before 3 came out. But it's a hard thing with those larger studios. Like the biggest sinner in this category is definitely like EA, where you can tell that it was made by this large multimedia, like, or well, not multimedia, but this large organization that had their hands in literally everything. And so whatever you're doing with these games, you have to make sure it's not only unoffending, but that it's got like the biggest market appeal for the lowest dollar amount. And so you're getting those things like like all of the skins and all of the charms. You're like, oh yeah, we can add this for pretty much almost nothing. Like it's probably just. I'm actually kind of curious how many people are designing skins in those games. But anyways, it's probably not a large percentage, but they're able to make a ton of money off of it. Um, and it's a big shame because you end up getting this, like everything just starts homogenizing and just becoming the exact same thing. And I started, and it's
Yeah,
yeah, and it's been a big issue for
definitely.
oh yeah, and it's been a big issue for a lot of companies, like with the new Star Wars movies. Like everyone hates them because they were built to be the most unoffending things that pretended to be this like new ground that was being broken for these series, and everyone watched it and was like, what are you doing? Like what is this thing? And now they're just I'm pretty sure they're universally hailed as the worst Star Wars movies. All 3 of the new ones.
I mean, personally, I can definitely agree with that.
Yeah. It's
And
just
I can't, I think that in 10, 20 years, I hope we have some really good memes out of them. Like we do the prequels now. Although I hope they don't get as revered as the prequels do now.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, it's just
yeah,
it,
it's disappointing.
it's a huge bummer, and I'm hoping that something changes soon because it's like we see things like CDPR that they're able to just kind of go off and do their own thing, and they not only have they're not only getting the money from these projects, but they're also getting the notoriety as these amazing companies. It baffles me how EA can keep being EA after with flounder after flounder happening in their company. Like how on
Well, it's
earth has
because
their
and it surprises me too that they've been doing this kind of stuff since at least the 90s as well.
yeah, like it keeps happening over and over again, and they have enough money to just kind of market their way out of a lot of these issues. They're like, oh well, it's this game isn't fantastic, but oh well, you know what, we'll have enough commercials about it and enough people will buy it to where we'll break even. I heard some really good news a while ago, by the way. You'll really appreciate this.
Uh-oh.
I do not believe as of yet the Avengers game that came out has broken even. Which like
Yeah, I heard that same thing too. It
yeah.
kind of made me a little happy. A little sad because
There's some good
I
people working on
played
it. What's up?
kind of on the same topic of customization. I was thinking about Anthem and how much of a bad game that was,
Yeah.
but what it let me do was at least paint
Flat.
my armor like any different color I wanted, and different parts of it different colors. So I made myself look like a little toy soldier. I just put the most ridiculous colors on it. And a game, I'll say it again, it makes me really, really want a good Iron Man game. It's an untapped market.
Yeah.
I'm just putting it out there, guys.
It's not happening yet.
So back to the whole EA thing real
Yeah.
quick. I think one of the main ways they get money is through the sports games and how they just release, oh yeah, it's FIFA, but with a different number on the end now
Yeah.
and slightly different names.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things they did back in the 2000s was get exclusive rights to things like the NFL, because there used to be multiple companies making NFL games, but then they got exclusive rights. So it's a monopoly now is what it is. And they still have that.
I'm personally, this might be the way that EA goes, and I really hope they do, although I think there's just a little bit too much money still left in these other projects. But personally, I would not mind if EA were to exclusively just do, like, you know, FIFA and Madden and those games. I mean, maybe it's just because I'm not a sports fan, but people don't seem to care that they're buying the same thing every year for some reason. Like, it's just, I mean, you can kind of make the same argument for Call of Duty, but at least with Call of Duty, they're reworking all of the arts, they're reworking some of the mechanics. The maps are hopefully new. With all of the sports games, though, like, I understand it's this big cash cow, and they realized if they do, you know, X, Y, and Z, they can always make this much amount of money at the end of the day. I'm fine with that, but my goodness, I can't stand the rest of their stuff. Just
yeah, I haven't played a sports game since the PS2 days. I played some NFL game.
Congratulations! It's
way
the
back,
exact same
way back
one.
when.
Yeah.
So I can't speak for why people play it nowadays, but honestly, people get weird about sports.
Yeah.
I've never understood the fanaticism behind sports because I've never found them that interesting to watch. And yet, at the same time, here I am saying, like, yeah, no, esports is like, I think they're definitely like real sports, and I enjoyed like something like Age of Empires.
Yeah.
I love it's still small and a little kind of community fed. We still have had names like Red Bull sponsor tournaments before and such. So it's like, this is more like the kind of sport I want to watch, guys. Well, I think one of the reasons I like esports so much more, and especially again, AoE 2 in particular, is because not only is it approachable and it's much more accessible for me, I can press play on the game and play anytime I want. And if I wanted to, I could get way, way better at the game if I put the time in.
Yeah.
But also, because it's a lot of a smaller scene, it's much easier for me to just kind of keep tabs on where the community is, where it's at, what's going on, players getting signed to different teams and stuff, and moving to different clans and all that. It's a lot easier to do that because it's a lot smaller.
Yeah.
Relative to something like CSGO or Valorant or whatever there is. And I don't know, it's just that fits me so much better because it's way less of a time commitment just to keep up with it. And again, it's much more personal, I want to say, because I can also go and play the game whenever I want. I'm not going to go play football, but I could, in theory, spend a lot of time and get close to the level that these top players are playing at if I wanted to.
I had one more thing to mention on it. You're wondering why people buy those games again and again. The reason is for the roster. What they do is they don't allow. Yeah, so when players get traded and stuff, that's always reflected in the new version. Which I
think is ridiculous.
It's crazy, yeah.
That absolutely should just be a free update.
Absolutely.
Every year when it happens. Just change it to every other year or something.
Yeah, I'm kind of amazed that I mean, I guess if they just have too big of a monopoly, but like, say you just, you released one like football game, and then there was just mod packs for the new players coming in and out, or maybe the developers released them as mod packs for the game, of just like these free little updates for it.
Okay.
I don't really have a topic like on it. I don't have any like larger conversation to have. I'm just mad. Okay, so over Emily's birthday, were you there on Emily's birthday?
I know what this is about.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so so I've had this happen at a few birthdays because people just like to get these. So there's these things you can buy. I don't know where they are. I'm sure it's just at Party City or something. they're these musical flowers. So they play Happy Birthday, and you put them like on cakes and stuff, and they're set to start playing once you like you light the top of them because they're like a candle and they spin around. It's like this nice little thing, and then it plays this little Happy Birthday sound in like a really it's like just a single tone that's playing the Happy Birthday song. So it's not like incredibly nice, like it's not enjoyable to hear, but it is like a fun thing to do. So these musical flowers cannot be turned off. They last, I don't know how long they last because I've never let one live that long, but they last for over an hour. Like multiple hours, which is way too long of a battery life for a musical flower that's just supposed to be put on a birthday cake. And they also are, oh my gosh, they're waterproof, which was the worst thing about this. So on
Wait, why does that make it so bad?
because it's hard to kill. You can't kill this thing. It just keeps playing.
Did you read the instructions? Because there's instructions on the box that say how to make it stop.
Hold on. Okay, musical flower. Have you read these instructions before? How to? I feel like
I think who lit the candle at Emily's birthday, I think she read the instructions, and I'm like, oh, those don't sound too bad.
Hold on.
That seems like it'd be easy to kill.
This guy's using scissors to do it.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Oh, there's like a wire on top of it. That I didn't have that with mine. What? It's that easy?
Oh my gosh. This man, his mind has been blown.
Hold on. I'm watching another video on it. How do they turn this off? Yeah, okay, this guy's just taking it apart. Yeah, like this one. I didn't have a wire on top. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, regardless, I had the worst time with this thing. I don't know if there's like a right way to turn it off, but I had to go and physically remove the battery by just pulling this thing apart as fast as I could. I couldn't drown this thing. Like, first it was set on fire because it's meant to be put on a birthday cake, but I didn't expect it to be waterproof, too. I don't know.
I could see that.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Anyways, I really hate those musical flowers. I didn't have anything else to say on it. I just really hate those things, and I wanted to vent to you for a second.
Sounds about right.
Oh man. Okay, I have one that's gonna make me happier, but we haven't done a Jacob topic in a while. What is YTM?
YouTube Music.
Oh, cool.
I'm sure you've heard. Yeah, you've heard a lot of my thoughts on this, but yeah. So when Google Play Music shut down, they were like, "Here, transfer your music to YouTube Music, because don't you want to combine your videos with your music?" No, I didn't. But regardless, I figured I'd give it a shot. However, what Google did way back when Google Plus was a thing is they were really weird about accounts. And so nowadays you can have multiple YouTube channels associated with one email or Google account, but one is technically the primary. So that's the one that you have to put your YouTube music on, right?
Okay.
But it wouldn't let me select the actual channel that I use with all my subscriptions and that I do all my stuff with on YouTube. So what I have to do is, if I want to listen to YouTube music, is I have to switch accounts or like switch YouTube accounts to the main one. But then if I go back to YouTube, it's on that account. So I have to switch accounts back to my the secondary account to actually look at my subscriptions. It's literally unusable for me because that's ridiculous. So I just didn't use it for starters. So I figured, let's try Spotify, right? Mm-hmm. I said I was going to give it a try.
How'd that go?
And it had some offline music capability. It went well. I didn't keep it for more than a couple hours. Let's put it that way.
That bad, huh?
I hated it. What? I'm not gonna lie, I hated it.
I have Spotify. What is the big issue you have with Spotify?
For starters, you know how you can add songs to a queue, right?
Yeah.
You can. I'm listening to this song. I want this song to add to the end of the queue. I'll click add to queue or whatever. There's no way to clear that queue. So if you just want to stop playing music altogether, you have to go to the last song and go to the end and make sure that Spotify isn't going to automatically add new songs to it that it thinks you might like. Or you have to remove each song individually from the queue, which is ridiculous. There's no clear all button.
Huh. That's interesting.
Which is a really minor thing, but it's little things like that Google Play did perfectly fine to me, I think. And I why would you do it in such a poor way?
Yeah, that's fascinating. It sounds like you listen to music a lot differently than me, which I'm finding very fascinating because I
Well,
never just
yeah,
go ahead.
I've said it time and time again. I don't listen to playlists.
Yeah.
I listen to albums.
I've never critically thought about the way I listen to music, but now I am, and I'm like, oh, I think I do it. I think you would get very frustrated if you were with me listening to music.
I feel like you'd probably skip around from song to song quite a bit.
Oh yeah, that's my entire. Corey hates when I have the when I have control on like a long car trip because she can't stand it because I know I don't normal like I'm looking for something that like not only fits the mood but I'm also just enjoying having something to do, which is the way I like to listen to music. Even when I'm on a long run, it's hard. Okay, so normally when I run right now, I have like an arm band, so I have like a little strap that puts my phone on my arm. But
Okay.
I kind of hate it because I can't pull out the phone at any time and change to something completely different. Like it'd be like, oh, let's go to rap. No, let's go to a musical. No, let's do heavy metal.
Oh,
Now
what?
let's do
Why
like,
would you just change that? Oh,
yeah,
I'll
it's
occasionally stop an album because I'm thinking, metal's not doing it for me. Maybe I'll switch it up, but that's not often. I usually do just finish the album
oh,
because that's an album I enjoy anyway.
oh, Jacob,
Before I switch
you would
genres.
hate me on a long car trip. I will
So
switch songs every 30 seconds because I'm like, oh, this one's nice, but I want to go to this one instead, and I'll just keep going and changing it. So you'll just hear.
that sounds miserable. Thank you for letting me know ahead of time because if we ever go on a car trip together, I'm in charge of music.
Oh man, yeah, it's not a habit I love too much. I think I've gotten better at it. Like when I'm going with Emily now, normally I'll stay on a single station, but I'm still skipping around a little bit. Like it's still happening a teeny bit. It's gotten better though. I think mostly just because most of the things I listen to in the car now, it's either podcasts or it's 1970s pop hits. That's pretty much all I listen to in cars now. I don't really have a reason to listen to too much more. I'm not on as many like long car drives, so I can't like, get an album and just kind of listen to the whole thing. That was the case back when I was in college because my commute to college was like 45 minutes, and that's like the perfect amount of time to listen to normal
Yeah,
albums.
that makes sense.
Yeah, but lately because it's usually been like, all of my drives are like within 20 minutes. Like that's the most I usually drive like on a normal day. It's always just like, like the next snippet of a podcast. Like I'm working my way through a Harry Potter podcast right now. And so I'm just doing like 20-minute snippets of that. And when I'm not, I'm with Emily, and the only thing that ever is like guaranteed to make her smile is 1970s pop hits. So
So that's just a de
yeah,
facto kind of.
yeah. My music habits have gotten really boring. I'm trying to get better at it with like running. Like running's helped quite a bit. I started getting into I think she's a Bulgarian pop star. Um, but I don't know. I need to listen to more music.
Yeah, with running for me, I would just either find songs or an album that I think would be high enough energy, and I just listen to that. I would ahead of time find what I wanted to listen to while running instead of like trying to find the best thing while running.
Yeah, I need to do
And
that.
if it didn't turn out perfectly, I'd be like, I like the song anyway. I'll just suffer through it in quotes, kind of.
Fine. What song was I
But
getting really into? Oh, Celeste Buckingham. Run, Run, Run by Celeste Buckingham.
never heard of them.
She is from Slovakia. Man, I can't talk right now. She's a Slovakian vocalist. That's great. She's fun.
So
Yeah.
not to sound so, just so we're clear though, that wasn't the only reason why I didn't like
Oh,
Spotify. That
right,
was
right.
one
Give
thing
me
that
more. Give me more.
was it was like an annoyance, but maybe could have lived through that.
Okay.
But the biggest problem is that Google Play Music had something where you could upload your own music up to 10,000 songs, and you could stream it anywhere and like download it for offline listening on any device and such.
Yeah.
So this meant that EPs and demos and such that I had bought physical copies of, and I had that I would listen to, and it was nice to have them mixed in with my playlist. That doesn't exist in Spotify.
Mm.
In Spotify, you can have local files on your desktop, but they're completely separate. And so you can't, and it's one giant list. So on Spotify, you can look at all the albums you have added to your account, right?
Yeah.
All the stuff you can stream. But you go to local files, and it's just one giant list of all the local files it found.
So that makes a lot of sense as to why that would be frustrating. I was listening to stuff like that a while ago. There was a band I liked, and a lot of the music that I enjoyed from them was underground stuff that they'd written 10 years before the band had actually been formed as an actual band.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I can absolutely see that be frustrating. I'm curious, what are you thinking now in terms of music? Because I know you really love your music, and I really appreciate that about you. You're really big into music. Are you thinking something open source? Like what's your new option for listening to
So
music?
so I'm getting there.
Okay.
Um, so after that, I realized this is just not gonna work. It's just straight up not gonna work. I've There's a lot of little annoyances have added up that I don't want to have to take the time to get used to them when I know there are probably other solutions out there. So what I did for my solution is there's something called Plex,
Oh
which you
yeah,
can
yeah.
get. Yeah, and so what that is it's basically like your own streaming service for files that you have. And so since I already have a server at home, that's just like a little storage NAS kind of. I have Plex on it, and I've tried using it before, and it's nice, but I've realized I could just use that, and then everything will work just how I like it. I can I have way more control over it. It is annoying because there's very few places that sell music files without DRM.
Hmm.
So getting my hands on music is a little more annoying now. But a lot of the bands I listen to now are on Bandcamp anyway,
Mm,
which gives you like FLAC downloads and stuff, or FLAC, or however you pronounce that, which are lossless files.
pretty sure it's
And
FLAC,
that's the
but
best part. I can stream FLAC files as well.
huh?
I don't know. It's just really nice
What exactly is the difference
because I
between
can I
FLAC
can
and
edit metadata exactly how I want to. So I just spent a couple hours like getting rid of duplicates and organizing it a little and stuff. And now I have all the music I had on Google Play, and it's nice.
Okay, hold on. I was looking up the difference. MP3 is a lossy format, which means parts of the music are shaved off to reduce file size to a more compact level. FLAC files are up to 6 times larger than an MP3 and are half the size of a CD. Oh, okay, that's cool. All right, that's why people would use
So
FLAC instead. I always saw that as an option. I'm like, is this just like a legacy thing, or?
yeah, so I think WAV files are also in general, or like they can be lossless,
Mhm.
but MP3. So you know how you have different bit rates for MP3, right?
Yeah.
Like 320 kilobits, 64, and such. So that just it's how much data you want to lose in the file
Hmm.
is MP3. But it's more convenient because it is smaller file size, and when you have 320 kilobits, it's going to be smaller than a FLAC, but the sound difference is going to be pretty much the same.
Fascinating.
But so yeah, that's what I've been using, and it's been working flawlessly, and I haven't really had problems with it.
No, I'm glad you got that all sorted out. Do you see your? I'm kind of surprised you didn't just decide to find like an app that you could just have all of your audio files on as a as the real like solution for that. Does your phone not have expandable storage, or why weren't you interested in
It
that?
doesn't. It doesn't. But I have 500 gigabytes on it,
Okay.
and so I've just downloaded everything for offline listening.
Okay.
And the best part is, if I'm on the same network, it does it as fast as my Wi-Fi will go.
Hmm.
Or as so.
Eh, nice.
I would say the worst part is that the music app that Plex has is there's no download all button. I have to go to each album individually and download it for offline listening.
Hmm.
But once you get through the first stuff you have, if you add more, it's easy to just do it like 3 at a time or whatever.
Nice.
So, yeah, all I have to say is, Google, you're dumb. And I really don't like the decision you made to kill that off because, come on, guys. Come on.
So, since you're mad about something not existing anymore, I have something that I'm mad about not existing right now too.
Okay,
So
what's that?
you spoiled me, sir. You absolutely spoiled me. Um, so
In what
a
way?
while ago, you recommended to me that app or the Chrome extension sponsor block.
Oh,
So it's
yes.
just my favorite extension of all time. That is so much. It's fun to see.
It's the best.
Yeah, and I feel really proud when I found like a really new video that has not been sponsor blocked yet, and I upload my own like versions of it. I feel very proud of myself for that. Anyways, it's gotten to the point where I'm actually recommending it to other people. So a sponsor block, I'm pretty sure, has added a few people just because of me. But
There you
the
go.
problem is I'm looking for it for other things now. So YouTube videos are kind of annoying. But you know what's really annoying? It's really annoying to not have that for podcasts. And
Hmm.
yeah, and it's man, it's
Interesting.
more frustrating because when you're watching a YouTube video, more or less you're going to be watching that YouTube video on a stationary device, on a computer, on maybe a tablet or something. Like it's something where you're on it and you can see the thing in front of you. So if there is an ad and it hasn't been skipped by sponsor block, or if you don't have sponsor block, you can just click forward in the video. But with podcasts, I'm normally listening to it in the car, and I don't really have that option. I can skip forward like, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 2 minutes if I need to, but it's really, really frustrating. So I've been looking around, and the thing that's been annoying me is that this thing does exist. There's one version called, let me see, AdSkip Pro. But this AdSkip Pro version is only on iPhones, and they're not bringing it to Android right now.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Oh man.
it'd be the easiest thing to do, and I kind of feel bad about it because the only reason we have so many podcasts in the wild is because ads are on them. And it's a more, there's not as much money in podcasts as there is in YouTube videos right now. But oh man, I want it so bad, but it doesn't exist yet. And
Yeah, that's.
I
Hmm.
almost want to make it
Oh well,
myself, but my
actually,
goodness.
hang on. I went to the site and it says it's our first version, so it's a fairly new. It looks like it was released in December of last year. And it says a simple app to prove the technology works. It downloads, plays, and skips the ads. It says we're already working on the next round of features and also a version for Android.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay.
It's been a year, so we'll see. But I mean, they say they're working on an Android version.
Okay. Well, that brings some relief to me. I really hope it happens soon because my goodness, those ads are annoying. Oh, sorry, podcasts. I know you make money off of it. I can't stand listening to it.
Right.
If it helps them at all, maybe what I should do is just, telling my phone to open up a tab for Squarespace every time I listen to a podcast, just so that I can skip it but not feel guilty about it. Like
There you go. I
Squarespace will
know,
still
right?
get one click. Oh man.
Here we are doing a podcast with what 40 episodes, no sponsors, no one really listening, and yet we're like, yeah, sponsors would be nice, but let's skip the sponsors.
That's the people want to hear. Oh man. Okay. I have another couple topics. Do you want to do another one though?
Uh, I got even. I'm interested to know why you put Subnautica on
Okay.
here below zero.
Oh, okay. I'm glad
Because I know
I
I know we have a friend who's playing through Subnautica. He loves it right now because we recommended it to him.
it has
But
it has
what does the sequel have to
so
do?
it has almost nothing to do with him. And I'm
Okay.
glad you brought this up because I was worried you'd get really, really violently upset the moment I brought this up. So I want you to know I have not played the game, nor have I watched any stuff about the game.
Okay,
Um,
wait. Is it anything about the development of the game?
kind of.
Because I do know that they fired the main writer, I think, or he left, so
Ooh.
they had to rework a lot of the story.
Ooh.
I did hear that.
Okay. Well, actually, that might play into it a little bit. What I'm more curious about is, um, beta access to video games or alpha access to video games in the first place, and why
Okay.
on earth it's a thing. So I'm kind of, and I think I've mentioned this to you in the past, I'm kind of a fan of having an early access to some of the builds because in my mind what that usually means is the nuts and bolts are here, there's kinks to work out, and some funny things might happen to you, and we'd appreciate if if you got back to us with those kind of things. But this one in particular, because I just recently bought Subnautica Below Zero. I was like, okay, I know I'm going to finish the first one. I know that I will play the second one at some point, and I had some extra cash sitting in my account, so I'm like, I'm either going to buy myself something really dumb on the Steam store, or I can just throw it into Subnautica Below Zero, not think about it, get it for essentially free, and yeah, and it'll just be sitting there and waiting for whenever it actually comes out. So I got it, and I started looking at the dev notes for what was going on, and they
Oh
released
man,
what? Well, I wasn't.
that's too much.
Well, the thing that shocked me for it, because I mean, we just talked about it with Cyberpunk and everything. One of the things I really appreciate in games like this, and in most games, is the overarching story that they're trying to tell with the game. Like that's what I'm curious about sinking my teeth into.
Yeah.
They didn't have any of that in the earlier builds of Subnautica Below Zero. They just recently started adding a bit to it.
Yeah, they
Um,
did the same for the first game as well.
oh man, that is
Story didn't really come until later.
it's I don't know. It just surprised me because I'm like, is that how most alphas or betas or whatever they are work? Is it really just like what is where does it stop with these games? Like,
Oh,
could you
I don't think you can generalize like that though,
what do you mean?
because so I've heard it said that the best early access titles, the ones that usually succeed better, are ones where the developers already know what they want to do with the game and they're not as, I want to say, influenced by the community, where they'll listen to them, and if they do something that's imbalanced or just not fun, they'll listen and be like, oh, okay, maybe we should rework this thing. But they shouldn't be adding features just because the community thinks it's cool or where the community wants to take the game.
Hmm.
So the best developers already know what they want the game to be. They just use early access as a way to kind of bug test and get feedback to make it kind of at the best game they can be. So honestly, I think it's okay that they do story last anyway, because that gives them the most time to work on story, which I think is one of the most important parts in Subnautica. But it also lets them work on the actual primary gameplay loop, what you're going to be doing to work towards the story and get that the best as well, and get feedback from the community.
Okay. It,
So
it
I'm not a fan of early access games in general anyway, but like, I mean, you do occasionally get the game like Subnautica and The Forest and such.
I think the way that it struck me was that because how long has it been? Like a year since Below Zero started early access. It
Well, so I think it was April 2019,
okay.
or I think it was 2018 or 2019 that
Gotcha.
Subnautica came out.
Substantial. It's a substantial amount, or is this? It's a substantial enough amount of time to where I was kind of shocked that they were just now looking at adding the story. The way it kind of hit me, and this might be wrong. The way it kind of hit me was that they released their original build. Like, say you got the early access on day one and you booted it up.
Okay.
It seemed like it was super, super, super bare bones
Yep.
to a point where like I'm like, did they just like could you just like upload like I mean this is I'm being facetious here, but like could you just like upload a sketch in Maya and call that early access because it's technically development on the game? Because you're like how far can an alpha go and what are people really paying for when they get it?
They're paying to, because I don't know much about the development of Subnautica and
Yeah.
how they specifically develop the Subnautica games.
Hmm.
But I would say one of the biggest selling points for Subnautica and what a lot of people credit its success to and why it's such a good game is the fact that you press F8 and you send feedback directly to the developers.
That is really
You
nice. I
can
like
write
that
a little
feature.
note, they get a screenshot, and you can have like a little meter rate from 1 to 5, frowny face to smiley face about how your experience is. And I mean, for a game developer perspective, that's fantastic for getting data.
Hmm.
So I mean, and you could use that for bug reports. You could use that for like, man, this I don't know, part of the resource gathering really sucks, and it's easy to get an overall feel for where people enjoy the game the most. So I think that could be especially valuable in the story because you can get very generalized data. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I like that part of the development, but like I said, I don't know too much about
Yeah.
how they actually do the day to day.
It's just a little bit shocking. It's just I don't know. Okay.
It's the same way the first game was as well. Super bare bones in the beginning, so it doesn't surprise me. I just hope that, because with the Below Zero, I know it's not gonna have the same effect, the same shock and awe and wonderment on me
Hmm.
as the first game did. But I still am hoping that it's just a really pretty game to look at. And I just want to explore. Because watching our friend play the game
Hmm.
made me realize I almost might just get in the creative world and just start exploring and looking at all the places I visited.
Oh, I think you should
And
totally
I'm
do that.
actually, oh yeah, no, I actually might soon.
Hmm.
But I'm really upset that my old world got lost.
I got lost. Like you lost the
Um,
file.
Yeah, I think I like reinstalled the game or I moved the game files and so the save file got deleted somehow
Hmm.
because it saves it with the instead of saving it in like your documents folder or your app data folder on Windows, it saves it with the game files in the Steam directory. So if you delete the game files and re-download it, world's gone. I'm not a fan of that, unfortunately. So I unfortunately don't have my old world, my first world, which is I was thinking about that last night and I was really sad about it.
You're still
And
mourning
now
the
I'm sad
loss.
again. Yeah, I am, dude. I would love to see my old base. I'd love it.
Oh man. It's funny. I didn't expect, especially because of like the forest, because the forest is probably the most I've played of a survival game before. And in the forest, you don't really need to make like Fort McAwesome in order to finish the forest. Like if you're looking to power through the game and see everything that there is to see in the game, you don't need an enormous base. You could get away without it. And I
Hmm.
I really don't feel that way in Subnautica at all. And that really surprised me because I'm really just kind of sinking my teeth into the game now. Although I've fallen off of it a little bit now, but I hadn't really realized that before, and I had kind of turned my nose up at the base building of like, oh, I'm not one of those people. I don't want to build this giant base. But it was really cool how the base building aspect was such a necessary part of the game, and building it bigger and more grand actually shows your progress in the game as a whole, and not just like how much time you spent in making this one thing look really cool. They did a really good job with it. I'm just very impressed.
Yeah. I do think the base building's in a very good spot with
Hmm.
it, where resources aren't too hard to gather,
Yeah,
and they actually give you stuff like the scanner room to help you find
more stuff.
resources that you need.
Hmm.
And but of course, like you said, it is. I think it's definitely necessary to make
Hmm.
a base to progress the game
Oh yeah.
far enough.
I mean, like I guess you could get away with not having one, but it would be so uncomfortable.
I no you.
You
Yeah, it
can,
would be
yeah, you
uncomfortable.
kind
Yeah.
of need. Like I'm sure you could find a way to play the game without a base, but that I don't want to play that. That sounds terrible. That sounds awful.
Yeah, I think the progression of the base is really, really nice as well because you have to actually go. The game encourages you, like, oh, you have this weird thing. You can't charge batteries. It seems like you're always making batteries. Well, do some exploring. Find the battery charger. There you go. Your life is a little easier now.
Um. Okay. Can I switch topics or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Cool. I have two more things to say on games. I feel like I'm on a bit of a game like roll, so I'm gonna do two more because these are pretty quick. So the first one I wanted to talk about was Bug Snacks. I've been playing that one a little bit.
Yeah, what on earth is that?
Oh, have you not? Okay, so you remember Octodad Dadliest Catch? This is the next game from
Oh
that
no.
studio.
Oh
No, no, it's really
no. I don't
cute.
want. Nah, I don't want to
It's
hear
like
about
a
this anymore.
it's like an adventure game, I guess you could call it ish. Yeah, I think adventure is probably the right way to put it. Um, it's hard because the game that I could really liken it to is Pokemon Snap, but you don't have much experience with that. It's cool. So
So what is this game then?
so Bug Snacks, the essential idea of the game is that there's this island, and on this island there's a whole bunch of creatures that are both bugs and snacks at the same time. So for instance, I think one of the first one you run into is called a Strabby, which is a little strawberry bug. There's a spider that I think is a bunch of French fries. Like that's the kind of thing
Wait,
that they
what?
do. Yeah, they have just
Oh,
like
okay. So it's all food kind of related.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's
When
interesting
when
that
you said they were all bugs and snacks, I thought you meant that they were bugs, but you could also eat them.
oh no. So the idea, this is kind of fun to explain to you because you don't know anything about this game. This is fun. So the idea of bug snacks is that when you go to this island, you can eat any of these bug snacks, and when you eat one, part of your body becomes the bug snack. So like your arm will become just raspberries. Like there is no arm anymore. You're literally just a bunch of raspberries on one of your arms if you eat
That's
the raspberry one.
ridiculous.
Oh, it's so ridiculous. But the thing that struck me, I haven't played too much of this game. I'm probably going to play a little bit more tonight. Is that it's really heavy, which I wasn't expecting. So like you get into the game and you meet this cast of characters, and then I don't want to give too much away. It just like someone will come up to you and be like, my spouse just left me, and that's the reason I'm here. And then one of the other characters will be like, I hate you for eating one of my bug snacks because I love them so much, and I'm glad your wife left you. And it's like,
Oh my
whoa, like
goodness.
that's like, wow. Like, we just
No,
went,
that's a little much,
yeah,
don't
like
you
my
think?
goodness, like that's the kind of stuff. I don't think there was any conversation that said exactly that, so I think I'm good. But it's just weird to play because I'm like, my goodness, like this is taking a serious left turn in some of these areas. Like, wow, this is a lot. I wasn't expecting this for a kids game. So I'm really enjoying it because it's so. Oh right, the main game mechanic loop, by the way, is someone will ask you to collect these things or to take a picture of them or to capture them, but you have to find a way to capture them. So like some of the bugs get scared of you when they see you and they'll run under a bush. So you have to find a way to entice them out, and then be able to ensnare them to give them to someone. That's the
Okay.
Yeah, that's the main loop. So it's really more of a puzzle game because there's like I think there's like 50 of these or 100 of these things. And so you have to like find out, you have to solve every puzzle by figuring out exactly what it is. So like maybe this one thing likes berries, but it also seems to enjoy chocolate. So maybe if you have a chocolate covered berry, then you can give it to them. So you got to find a way to cover a berry in chocolate, and like that kind of thing is those are the kind of puzzles you're encountering. But anyways, yeah, it's the funniest thing, and I'm
It sounds like a I don't know. It's fun to think about because it's just like you can, like you said, spiders with French fries
yeah.
legs. It's like if you can think of it, I mean, that's a good idea for the
Oh
game. So
yeah.
it's a fun game to think about from how you're describing it.
It's a game that I think when it eventually actually it might be on PC now. I think I'll eventually end up purchasing a copy for someone in our friend group or just trying to convince someone to purchase a copy. Because especially with the friend that we both know that just enjoys 100%ing games. This is one that I think he'd just really enjoy doing. It's a lot
All
of
right, I want to look up screenshots of this now. I've been waiting, but I gotta.
okay. It's a really silly looking game. Like it's just so funny that it just gets really heavy at certain points. Just like, my God, I can't believe you
Hmm.
said that. Like that's
Epic Game Store, you say?
I was on Epic. I just saw that it's on PC right now. I don't know where it is. I'm playing it on
Yeah.
PlayStation.
Oh, so it came out like a month ago.
Yeah, yeah, it's a really new one. I got it for Emily's birthday. This was one of her birthday presents. But the problem is that it's first person, so she can't play it because she gets so incredibly motion sick. So I'm playing it, and she's watching me play. And she's like, "Yeah, I want to watch you play, so do not play
The
without me."
usual.
Oh yeah, that's essentially how most games go. But yeah, no, there's a whole big plot to it, and you're uncovering more of the plot as you play more of the game. So it's like this person's missing, and you have to go find them, and why did they leave, and what happened to this person, and again, it's getting like really heavy, and it's dealing with some very adult themes. Not in like a I always feel weird saying that because it's not in like a sexual way. It's just like these like what I said, like someone's wife leaving them and then someone insulting them.
Yeah, like loss or something.
Yeah, but then someone like bringing that up as a way to actively hurt them. It's like, wow, that is wild and very uncomfortable. And my goodness, I can't believe they said that. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's a very weird thing. It seems like a game that's.
Conflicted. It sounds like you're conflicted a little.
It seems like it's a game that's incredibly enjoyable for all audiences. So it's not an E for everyone game. I wouldn't put it in that category. But I do think that little kids could find something to seriously enjoy about it, and someone like me can find a way to seriously enjoy it too. Does that make sense? Like little kids
Yeah, yeah.
would look at the creatures and think it was really fun, and then I'd be like super into the plot and being like, I want to know what the hell these things are, because there's also this other like I don't want to say much in it at all, but there's an extra plot line that the game seems to be hinting at. I think I'm like an hour into it right now. On like the origin of the bug snacks because they don't seem like normal like I don't think bug snacks are everywhere in the world. I think they're just on this one island, and they seem to be hinting that like there's I don't know what they're hinting, but there seems to be something there.
Something sinister afoot.
There's like a scientific approach that certain characters are taking.
Gotcha.
And they're like, yeah,
I could see that. Like maybe it's a scientific experiment gone wrong.
yeah,
Or
or like
something.
maybe they're aliens, possibly, or yeah. I don't want to say too much more because I know a little bit, and I don't. It's just fascinating. So, anyways, that's Bug Snacks. The last game on my list. Oh man, this last one's wild.
Well, real quick though,
Yes.
that game actually kind of sounds. I see you removed it, but we did play Grounded while it was a free to play for weekend.
Oh, okay. I guess we can play it.
I mean, that's kind of in the same vein of what we're talking about, though,
That's true.
where it
That's
kind
true.
of takes an interesting concept. You talking about bugs made me think of it, but also Subnautica is similar in that Grounded hopes to be a survival game with story elements.
Mhm.
So I think that shows. I don't know. It was just so underwhelming because it was so early in the development cycle
Hmm.
that I feel, I don't know, like it's ruined the game for me now.
Yeah.
Because if I had played that when it was actually fully released and it wasn't so glitchy and my game didn't freeze up for a minute every other minute, I would have had a much better experience. But also, it was just so shallow. There wasn't much depth to it, unfortunately, and the game just felt kind of clunky and such. So
Just so everyone's aware, Jacob, switching the topic a little bit back to Subnautica, but nothing having to do
yeah,
with bug snacks.
I mentioned that. Well, it's
Oh, yeah,
related
yeah.
to bug snacks in the sense that you're small and dealing with like. So the
That's fair,
premise
yeah.
of it is that you got shrunk and you're surviving in your front lawn.
Yeah.
And so your spiders are basically your biggest enemies because they're the size of Texas.
Yeah.
And so and so it's all about surviving against like aphids and finding dew as for water to survive and
Yeah.
such. So
Yeah,
but
it was I feel the exact same way about Grounded. It's a game that not enough of it was there to bring me back to it, unfortunately, and you're right, it did kind of kill it and everything. It was like it is very, very shallow. It's like, okay, so I get X to make Y, and then Y makes Z, and now that it's over. Like I don't know. It was very there just wasn't enough.
So comparing it to Subnautica and the Forest,
Mm-hmm.
I think it doesn't. It takes too. It doesn't do anything to make itself stand out from. It takes like an interesting premise, but then it just slaps a bunch of generic elements on top of it.
Yeah, I could see that.
So like something with the Forest, I love the inventory system in the Forest,
Mm-hmm.
where every item has its own place in the backpack, and you can carry every item in the game, but you can only carry like 5 batteries before you can't pick any up.
Yeah,
but it doesn't affect how many sticks you can pick up.
I-
You can still carry 10 sticks no matter what else you have in your backpack.
I always forget about that inventory. That is the coolest inventory system, the Forest one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like the inventory system in that, and you can get bags to upgrade your like stick holding capacity and such. But and then you have something like Subnautica where, because it's a high tech future, a lot of the stuff that you would do in Subnautica or like in the Forest, combine sticks together for a spear, is just kind of magic hand wavy, like, oh yeah, check out this cool fabricator, give us titanium and you get this ridiculous amount of stuff just appears.
Have you heard Zero Punctuation talk about survival games?
I'm sure I have.
He's got this one line he always does. It's like, yeah, you always start out in a survival game and it's always the same thing. You get a stick and a rock and then you combine them to make stick with rock on the end of it. That's always the very first thing you do.
Basically,
it's like,
yeah,
well,
dude.
that's pretty much true. So, except for Subnautica, but yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, that's because Subnautica takes it a step further and is like,
oh yeah,
you're in a high-tech world. You
happen to have access to like these two things that make everything really convenient.
Exactly, yeah. So, but not Stranded, Grounded falls in that category of, we didn't take anything that makes it unique or cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a crafting system. It's something you would see in like Assassin's Creed, basically, or some other generic kind of looking game.
Yeah,
that just has a crafting system in it. And I think that's one of the problems, is it takes a cool premise, but it doesn't do anything interesting with it. Because at the end of the day, cutting down blades of grass to build your house and then carrying them like 5 at a time is just like the Forest, where you have to carry down.
Yeah.
You have to cut down trees, carry the logs like 2 by 2 back to your base.
Exactly.
So
I think the one thing that
it didn't stand out.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
The one thing that really bugged me about Grounded too was the time it took for everything to work properly just felt wrong. I don't know how else to explain it. Like the loom that you made took a little bit too long, and it was, I don't know.
Well,
just the timing.
I'm fine with that though.
Timing didn't feel right. I don't know.
If anything, I like that because I don't want stuff to be instant. I don't want everything to just be available to you. Because if you think about it, in the Forest, turtle shells are a good way to get renewable free water anywhere you are. Those take time. Or I had another example in the Forest, but I can't remember what it was. But I like it when there's a variety. Oh yeah, like drying food and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I like it when there's a variety of timings for different resources.
Yeah.
because then there's always something to do. You always got to go, oh, put more food on the drying rack, and
Yeah.
oh yeah, I got to go get more, fill up my water again and such.
I'm definitely fine with the timing, but there was something about I'm okay with there being time involved as part of the one of the mechanics. It's just the
Hmm.
timings just felt kind of, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm saying exactly what you're saying. The game felt very stiff, grounded. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just it.
very stiff.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, this is kind of like it technically works. It's technically a survival game. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I think stiff is a really good reason for just the way the game feels in general, whether it be controls, the crafting system, the building system, and it was just released, so it's still in early access. Like we're fairly, this is the survival early access game podcast, but yeah, I hope they can do something good with it, but we'll see.
Early access game podcast. I love it. You know what? That's actually not a bad idea for a podcast. We should keep that in mind. Of doing like a special
Ooh,
episode for, I don't know. Well, I mean, the more we do these podcasts, the more it seems like we have all of these. Um, God, sorry, someone's texting me like crazy right now. I don't need to respond or anything. The more we do these, the more it seems like there's all of these interesting ideas that we kind of could spin off with, like not for its own podcast, but maybe like individual episodes tailored to certain things that were maybe like a half hour long instead of a full hour, like we've been trying to hit. I don't know. It's something that I've been kind of thinking
it's
about.
something to think about.
Yeah, just like because it seems like our podcast is a little bit disjointed, which isn't always bad. Like it is kind of fun to jump from a food category into a video game one. But when we're hopping
Yeah,
between so
for
many
sure.
video games and trying to give them all the time of day, like we are with like Subnautica is just enjoyable to talk about. I don't know. It's something to keep in mind. I'll keep you posted on how I feel about it.
All right.
Oh, I want to mention one more game before we hop into the last couple topics.
Quest? Oh,
Quest.
actually,
Yeah.
I have another game after this
Oh, you
anyway.
do?
So
Oh, mention yours
yeah.
first. This my Quest is more of a ridiculous one.
I want to hear yours first, to be honest.
Oh, okay. All right. Quest is. Oh man.
Is it Chex Quest?
No, it's not Chex Quest.
Oh man.
Quest came out of a weird. It came out of this rabbit hole that I was curious about a while ago, and it was just something I assumed existed, and I found out, yeah, it exists, and there's like a whole like genre behind it. Like maybe not like a huge genre. I haven't actually seen how far the rabbit hole goes. I haven't gotten that into it. Um,
So
Quest
what is it?
Quest is a choose your own adventure YouTube video series. Um, and it.
Is it how old is it?
Good question. Let me pull it up right now. Hold on.
Because if it's too old, how can you do that? Because I know there were things like that used annotations back in
That's
the
what I was
day.
curious about. This one is 1 year old, and it worked perfectly.
Oh, okay, yeah. So then it's not going to use outdated stuff that Google removed for no reason at all.
I've heard the kerfuffle about that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Um,
ridiculous, dude.
yeah, okay, it wasn't good, but it was really fun. And I think so. Emily did it with me. I don't think she'd find it fun, but I thought it was absolutely hilarious. So it was exactly what you'd expect. It was this incredibly cheesy series about what is the plot? The plot is that someone built like the newest alternate reality video game, and you're really in the world. You really go there. And so you take each video clip is you choosing one of two doors. And so you'll choose a door, and it'll either take you more into the fantasy world or into the real world, so like a real thing going on. So, so you'll choose a fantasy world, and it'll be like, oh, there's a rogue in front of you trying to steal your money, so you have to hit him. Do you hit the right or the left side? And what weapon do you choose? And it'll ask things like that to kind of progress the story, and it'll
Gotcha.
kind of keep track of your inventory based on what video you get. But if you choose the doors that go to the real world, it's just, oh my gosh. So the first time I went to the real world, my video was of me sitting in my living room eating cereal. And then my dad comes in. He's like, "Hey, son, have you done your homework?" And I chose no, I haven't done my homework. He's like, oh, "Thanks for being so honest with me. I know you haven't because your teacher just called me, and that's just like a wonderful thing." And then I got like some stat boost because I was honest with my dad. Um, so the
Okay.
whole game was like a don't do drugs PSA for kids on how to be nice. It was just the funniest thing.
That's
I
weird.
loved every second of it. And then there was one. Oh man, I went into the real world the second time, and there was this guy, and he stood me up. Like so, I walked into like an alley, and he comes up with a gun and he points it in my face. He's like, "Hey, give me your money or I'm gonna kill you." So I chose I'm gonna fight back. Like I don't want to give him my money. I want to fight back and
Yeah,
everything.
no, clearly.
So a minute afterwards, another guy pops out of the side of the screen and goes, "Oh, he's attacking you. I've got to save you." And then they get in the struggle, and then he dies. Like the guy who tries to save me gets shot in the arm, or no, sorry, in the chest, and then he dies in my arms on the ground. Like just telling me, like he's. I mean, I don't remember what he said, but it was really emotional. It was just the most ridiculous thing. I loved it. Like it was the funniest. Stupid. I don't know. I want to play a million of
It's
them.
just cheesy kind of proof of concept, it sounds
Yeah,
like.
that's exactly what it was. It was so cheesy, and it was definitely like a proof of concept thing. It was very, very rough, but oh my gosh, it was the funniest thing ever. So I'll probably bring one up in Discord later because they're so funny. And apparently, there's more than just this one. If you type in "Choose
Yeah,
Your
I was going to say,
Adventure,"
wait, bring one up?
yeah,
Oh,
so murder mystery
okay.
one. No, not like bring it up. I want to just do one in the Discord.
Yeah, I know. I meant that more so in the sense that there's more than one.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, oh yeah. I don't know how many there are. There's at least like I don't know. I'm seeing at least 2 as I'm looking for it, but I know there's more than that. Oh yeah, here's another one. I don't know. There seem to be like I don't think there's an actual channel where you can find all of them, but there really should be. Like I want to see all of these because they're so funny. Okay, I think that's yeah. All right, what's your video game topic?
So last video game topic.
Jake, hold on
We've
one
actually
sec.
gotten through
Hold
a
on.
lot of these topics.
Jake, 1 sec. Hold on.
Okay.
Cool. I'll deal with it in a minute. Thank you. Sorry about that. Cora's being very insistent on telling me something. Okay.
That's fine.
All right. So start over.
Let's see. Last video game topic. We apparently had a lot of video games to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But Teardown is an interesting game that I've been following for a while.
Why do I know that title? Let me look it up. Keep talking.
And what it is a voxel-based, like kind of heist game.
Oh,
where
yeah.
everything can be destroyed, but it's ray traced as well. So everything looks really cool. But the main selling point is the fact that everything can be destroyed or altered or moved. And there's different materials like stone, metal, glass, and wood and all that. And so you have these tools at your disposal. And so you need to steal cars, steal documents, drop things in the ocean. You get all these different missions. But the point is that you're supposed to like but the actual timer doesn't start until you do the first thing, like you steal the first computer. So before you activate the timer, you want to make the best path. Put like the vehicles in position so you can do everything as efficiently as possible, because you only have a minute once you activate the timer, and then when that minute runs out, game over if you haven't escaped already.
Okay.
But one of the main selling points about it is the fact that you can literally make any sort of path you want, because it's all voxel based, and you can burn down entire buildings in it if you want. Of course, that'll probably activate this fire alarm and you'll start the timer. But if you want to poke a hole in the side of the barn with your sledgehammer, go ahead, and now you have a new path. If you want to drive your backhoe into the barn to create a hole, there you go. Go ahead and do it.
That's awesome.
So
question
I've been
one.
Following
is it multiplayer?
No.
Oh, that's too bad.
Single player only.
Okay.
Which I'm fine with. But I've been following the development of it for a couple years now, because the developer was posting on Twitter some videos of some ray traced lighting engine he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And this is before RTX was really a thing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think he started working on it shortly before the 2000 series was initially released. And so it doesn't use RTX, unfortunately, because I think you could get really good frames with it otherwise. But I also like that because it works on AMD GPUs as well. But so honestly, I'm just enjoying it. Because, I'll say it again, I like my physics games, and this game is nothing but simulated real physics.
This one looks cool.
So,
this one looks really cool.
Yeah, it's a blast. Yeah. I would say the worst part is that you slowly unlock... There's collectibles you can find around the world to get money to buy new tools and upgrade the tools you have at your disposal. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you want a better flame... Or you want to bring more ammo of your flamethrower to the next mission, you have to buy it. Mm-hmm. But I would say the worst part is that the creative or the sandbox mode is the tools you bring are limited to what you've unlocked in the campaign. I would say that's my least favorite part so far.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, it was cool that it was finally released.
How big are the maps?
They're moderately large.
Well, is it like, what are you dealing with? Because the pictures I'm seeing is like, okay, it looks like 6 buildings per map. Is that correct or no? Or is it like a city thing? Or
It depends on the map, to be honest.
okay,
It really does depend on the map. Some are small, some are much larger. But yeah, one's like an entire mansion with a race track in the back.
Man,
so
I want to blow up some of this stuff. This looks really cool. So you got it?
Oh yeah, I was like super excited when it came out.
Oh nice.
I haven't beat the campaign yet, but it's super easy to just pick up again.
That is going on my wish list.
Because the controls are basically left click and WASD.
I know you've mentioned that game before, but I don't feel like I've ever actually given it a real good look. Like I've never actually.
I mean, only until recently have there been solid like demos of what the gameplay is actually like, okay. And then even more recently was it even released.
Added to my wish list
as early access.
I got it. Nice. Oh, cool. That was a good amount of video game topics. It was a bit, but I liked it. I felt good.
Well, we're not done yet, though.
We're not. I'm just thinking. I'm like, I got really tired at the beginning of this. I'm like, oh man, how am I gonna do this? But no, that felt really good. Okay, I've been waiting. You know what? No, I want to talk about The Boys last because I actually really want to talk about that one.
I was just thinking of deleting that one though.
Okay. Well, you want to give me your 2-minute thing? Do you have anything to say on it anymore?
Modern TV annoys me because it feels like all the drama is just artificial. Obviously the writers have to create something to spur along the plot, but sometimes it just feels like if people would say communicate like humans, half the show could be half the length.
I didn't.
Okay. And so the Boys is like one of the few actual, I don't know, I want to say modern, but like current shows that I watched, and it just made me feel gross. That way.
I didn't.
Yeah, it wasn't like so much gross. It was like, why am I watching this when if you guys had just talked or like said what you actually meant to say, you could have like gotten along a lot better, guys. Come on.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, because that was interesting to me. I'm like, yeah, The Boys. I don't normally think of as a show that has like a serialized plot like that. It doesn't. I don't get that feeling at all from it. But I mean, it clearly does have a beginning and an end because I think they said they wanted 3 seasons out of it. They do have a bit of a will they, won't they kind of back and forth with the characters of like, oh, she didn't say the thing, she like hesitated because she's too emotional or something, and
yeah, exactly. Yeah. They'll be, oh, I wanna tell you I love you or something ridiculous like that, yeah. And then he doesn't, and then she just thinks he's an asshole or he doesn't like her or something, and I'm like, if you just speak, because the problem is that if that happens once, okay, that's understandable, mm-hmm. But the fact that it stands out to me enough means it happens multiple times.
Yeah.
Meaning, stop using that as a device to move forward with the plot or to make you feel emotions or whatever. That was the feeling I got after I watched the show. Was I feel like nothing was actually accomplished.
Yeah, I could see that. That is kind of how I felt about The Boys too. Like, you have these giant, overpowered, strong as God characters, and somehow they're just too close to the people got away just in time, or they decided not to kill them because of this reason. It's like, yeah, if you had that much power, I'm pretty sure you would just start laser beaming everyone in the face. Like, I don't think
right.
I don't think you'd hold your punches, especially that evil villain.
Like there was a. So this is a spoiler. So if anyone wants to see the end of season 2 and doesn't want to be spoiled, I don't know, skip forward like a minute. But at the end, because you remember Starlight tries to go convince that one girl, I can't remember her name, the girl who used to date Homelander,
purple electric girl. That girl?
No, the girl who wears like the weird looking crown.
Weird looking crown. Was she a superhero or was she like the girl?
Yeah, she was in the 7.
What girl are you talking about?
She has like the green outfit.
Oh yeah, the Wonder Woman girl. Got it.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman.
So so Starlight goes at the end and tries to convince her, like, do what's right, come help us, fight Homelander or something, and she's like, no.
Oh yeah, she's like, I'm sorry,
And
I
then of course
can't.
they do the cheesy, like, oh no, she's actually saving them all from death because she changed her mind.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, guys, really? That's just lazy writing at that point.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way about the comic book. So the whole comic series for the boys was released on was it Humble Bundle for like $15, I think. You get like every single one. So I'm like,
Oh,
oh,
really?
that sounds like a good Humble. Yeah. So I own like DRM free copies of all of them now, which is really cool. And that's the exact. I haven't read too much, but it's because they were written in kind of the same way of like. Well, I don't know. They weren't written in the exact same way, but the writing was just as cheesy. And I was like, oh, I'm not like super getting into this. This isn't well written at all.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it is a stylistic choice then in that sense, but
yeah, I mean, it
didn't hit well with or land well with me then. Makes in that sense. Case.
Yeah, I guess you could probably make that argument. Like, I hope that's what they did. I don't think it is what they did, but giving them the benefit of the doubt, it does feel like old cheesy superhero dialogue that they're using in the show.
Yeah,
big benefit of the doubt. All right.
Whew. Almost there.
Do you want to do the keyboards, or are you good?
Of course I want to talk about keyboards.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I mean, whoa, why would you ask such a thing,
sorry.
Tim?
My bad. All right. So, I feel like I know where you're going with this one. So, Jacob has on this list keyboards because what else?
I mean, because for some reason I decided that keyboards is a hobby I like to talk about and buy stuff for.
No,
so.
I said because what else? Because that's in the thing.
I know that's why I'm explaining why I wrote that.
I know a little while ago you mentioned that you were looking into getting machined aluminum keycaps. Is that what we're talking about?
Oh, I just saw a post for that on Reddit and I'm like, oh, those are so sleek. But I'm not going to spend $250 on that. That's a little much because you can build a really nice keyboard for that much.
Yeah.
But so what I finally got around to between this podcast and last podcast is I built another keyboard, and it was, I don't know, it's just fun. So this was my second keyboard I bought a kit for instead of a pre-built.
Actually, when you say builds, can we go into that a little bit? Because I don't actually know what that means. I'm assuming, like, how many pieces does it come in? Like, what are the main things you're putting together? Because I would assume it's basically just, like, the skeleton of the keyboard plus keycaps, and you just stick on the keycaps. Is that what building means? What are you doing?
No, well, I mean, that's getting a pre-built because the keycaps you can change out.
Got it.
However you want, even on a pre-built, even on a lot of gaming keyboards if you get the right switches.
Okay.
But
so what is building?
When I say building, I mean you find a PCB if you're not as hardcore as some people and you don't make your own. So you get like a PCB, you get a case, you get keycaps, you get switches all separately, and then you solder in the switches yourself. And
okay, gotcha.
If you depending on the PCB you get, mine only supports like single color LEDs, so I just just got LEDs like that.
What color?
White, because
got it.
I got an all white build going on because the first pre-built I got was just a cheap kit. I asked for Christmas or my birthday, and I got it, and it was fun putting it together. I actually went back and unsoldered it all and put lubricant on all the switches, and now it's fantastic. Feels fantastic. They're linear switches, and then so I decided, oh man,
you sound so proud.
It really does. So these switches are linear, but they're actually they're cheap, but you can make them feel really nice just by lubing them. And so why bother getting more expensive switches when you can just make the cheaper ones feel a little better. But so it was an all black, blank keycaps, black case, black keycaps, black PCB, black plate, and all that. So it looks really nice. It looks sleek. Mm-hmm. But I realized, what would be even better? If I had the polar opposite and I got an all white build.
Oh.
So white, a giant 5-pound aluminum case. This thing I probably spent more money on it than I should have, but it feels fantastic. And then white keycaps, I put white LEDs in. white blank keycaps, by the way. So it's just they look so good. I'm so happy, and I'm also especially happy with this because I almost screwed up the PCB by accident. So when you're soldering, you want to get these. When you stick the little LEDs through, you have the really long wires that you clip off after you soldered it. And so the problem is I was clipping too aggressively, and so I was actually cutting off some of the solder. And one of them, it ripped off the copper pad that you soldered to. So I had to buy like this. So what you have to do is you have to basically just solder wire to the copper traces on the PCB. You have to like scrape away the protective layer. But this wire you get is like thinner than human hair, basically. And so working with that is crazy. But the fact I actually got my keyboard working again, like it was just like one LED that was out, but the fact I got it working again, I'm like, I don't know. It was a big accomplishment. I've never done that kind of repair before, and the fact that I know I can do it now is awesome.
Nice, not bad. So now you have a fully black and a fully white keyboard.
Yep. Nice. I wish I could use more keyboards at once. I think my biggest something I want the most for keyboards is just a place to put them, because right now I can't really show them off anywhere.
What do you think the option for that? Like I guess you could. I mean, I'm thinking of like ways you could build into your life a reason to have multiple keyboards. Like maybe if you
what are you talking about?
Well, if you get like
have multiple keyboards, I don't need a reason.
No, I mean like maybe you could like like an extra monitor on there that's only hooked up to Linux just for coding or something. Like maybe I don't know. I mean, it would require a whole new computer.
People have streaming PCs that they would need 2 keyboards for.
That's fair.
A lot of the bigger streamers, but honestly, if I'm gonna have multiple computers on my desk, I like this software called Synergy that just seamlessly, I should say, lets you use the mouse on both separate computers as long as they're on the same network.
Oh, nice. That's actually pretty nice.
But yeah, I don't know. It was just a fun experience. I was a little worried that I was gonna have to desolder everything and get a new PCB, but I fixed it. So, and the switches feel really good because I spent a lot of time putting lubricant on all of them, because that means you have to take them apart and do all sorts of, and with a paintbrush painstakingly, like put like the thinnest film of lubricant you can on it.
The more you talk about keyboards, the more I'm getting into them. Like I'm not sure I could ever treat it like a hobby like you do, but it would be interesting to have 1 or 2 keyboards to play around with.
So one of the reasons that it's easy to just buy keyboards, especially when you're first getting started, is the fact that there's a lot of different options for how switches feel. And so you're not into soldering or building your own keyboards yet. So you're like, oh yeah, I want to try like the linear versus the clicky versus the tactile and stuff. So now that I have a good feel for what I like, it's a lot easier for me to be like, oh yeah, I know what would probably want to get next. So that's why actually on Black Friday, there was a good deal on a bare bones hot swappable PCB. So instead of soldering in the switches, it's just I don't know, an interface. You just push them in. So they're super easy to take in and out and replace if you want to try a different type of switch. So
nice.
So that'll be nice to actually start trying a much bigger variety of switches as well, because switches are like one of the cheaper parts usually of the keyboard. So, but yeah, if you ever feel like you want to spend a little bit of money on a nice keyboard, I would totally be willing to just build it and put in all the work to make it really nice.
You are making it more enticing. I am considering.
I mean, all I want people to do is just feel what I think are some of the best keyboards I have, and then be like, I mean, it's nice. But usually people think I'm kind of weird. So thank you for tolerating my little bit of a rant.
And anytime, Jacob. Anytime. You can talk about keyboards all day. Okay, the last topic...
Wait, I might hold you to that.
The last topic is a bit of a Christmas gift for you, because I think you'll really enjoy this one.
Okay, this one's interesting, because I have no idea what this is.
Okay, so you've never heard of the Attic National Forest yet? Don't Google it just yet.
I haven't. No.
Okay. So you never heard of this guy before? So
Nope.
the Attic National Forest it's not officially a national forest yet. They're trying very hard to get it recognized as a national forest. Um,
Okay.
it is the smallest forest on Earth, apparently. So
What?
so it's a small forest. So you can start looking at pictures. I'll send you a link really quick. Um, so it's a small forest. I hope that was the right link. Oh yeah, it's a small forest in Alaska. So it's on an island off the coast of Alaska,
Wait,
and it's got
what is
yeah.
that?
So it's 33 trees. But let me explain. So
What?
it's this small island off of Alaska. So what happened was, like, there's a whole story behind this. This happened during World War II. Japan started getting more aggressive towards the United States and started putting up posts on islands surrounding the United States on the Alaskan side. So in Alaska, there's a small island called Attic. I think that's the actual name of the island. And they wanted to put a base up there. So there was like a couple thousand soldiers that moved into the base to go spend time on there. But the problem was the entire place was like barren. It was just like this flat green like nothing. And so the commanders wanted a way to raise morale. So their way of raising morale was by planting Christmas trees. And so what they did was they planted a whole bunch of Christmas trees. Like they tried to plant as many as they could. There was this whole initiative running for several years to plant a ton of Christmas trees. But the problem is the land was terrible and all of the trees died. But there's this little tiny cluster that for some reason really really thrives on the island. For some unknown reason. So on this island there's just this cluster of 33 Christmas trees that are all in just this like little hole of a place. And so the soldiers started really loving it. So they put up a sign on it when you walk over to the trees that says you are now entering and leaving the Attic National Forest.
Oh, that's great, dude.
So
I would also like to point out here in this link that you sent me.
yeah.
It says at one point it was only one tree, and now the fact that it's 33 trees means that this forest is growing.
Oh yeah, it's on the up and up. That's a what is that? 330%? No. 3,300% growth. I don't know. It's a lot of growth.
It's bigger.
It's getting bigger. So anyways, that was my little Christmas gift to you for this pre-Christmas podcast.
Oh man, the pictures of it are ridiculous though, because okay, you know the Windows XP rolling green hill background, right?
Yeah. It kinda looks like
Everyone
that.
knows that.
Yeah.
I'm using that as a basis. So a picture of very nice looking green hill. And then you just have this
Lump of trees.
like lump. It's actually a lump of trees in the middle of it, and it looks so out of place.
Oh yeah. It's ridiculous.
It's the weirdest thing to look at.
Nobody knows why they even grow there. I want to know if the trees are actually in the military base or if they're outside of it. I don't know.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know.
Either way, it looks ridiculous, and I want to visit there now.
Alaska Airlines provides 2 flights weekly to Attic Island from Anchorage with Boeing 737 aircraft. Okay, so yeah, you can get there. Yeah, so anyways,
Yeah,
if you're
at the very least, you could like get a boat or something.
if you plan oh no, this is like let me send you the Google Maps thing for this. I checked it right before I put this topic in. It's like out there. Like it's like seriously out there. Like you're
I mean, you could still probably charter a boat.
I'm amazed
somehow.
this island does not count as Russian territory. It's so far out there.
Oh yeah, that's like half and half basically.
Yeah. It's like you could
Actually,
What's up?
sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying it's farther out than Hawaii. Like you technically could charter a boat, but I wouldn't want to spend that long on the sea. Like that'd be a long
I don't know
time.
if it's further out than Hawaii because up north the circumference is way less.
Well, that's fair. That's definitely fair. Oh man.
But that actually makes me wonder now, considering you have that giant range of mountains that comes off of Alaska and goes over to that little peninsula on Russia. What point does it stop being America islands?
Yeah, there's that little island, or there's 2 little islands in the middle. I don't know who owns those.
Well, there's actually a lot more islands on that range than I thought, so who knows? It's probably something we argue over every day.